All right, so back again, this time talking about something sort of related to what I talked about yesterday. Yesterday, I talked about connections, sexual connections. So I do want you to go back and listen to that if you didn't hear it, okay? This is now going to talk about, are you physically attractive? What about your partner? Is your partner physically attractive? All right, the connection, okay, I'm using that word, I shouldn't use that word, but the connection to yesterday is the connection. An attraction, physical attraction is a connection. So the same thing I talked about yesterday, but that was more sexual attractions and other attractions that you can get. This is more focused on the physical attraction, which is a branch of the attraction I talked about yesterday. So I want you to focus on physical attraction, not on sexual connection or not on connection, but on physical attraction. So the question is, are you physically attractive? Do you consider yourself physically attractive? What about your partner? Is your partner physically attractive? Who decides that? You do. You decide whether you think you're physically attractive, and you decide whether your partner is physically attractive to you. Do you have a physical attraction? Both of you. That's the question tonight. So I put here 3 points I want you to take home and not forget. Number one, initial point of attraction. You know how it is. The first question is, you want to know what they look like. So this is the initial point of attraction. The first thing that you know is what they look like. So it's important. You want to know what they look like because you want to know whether there's any potential of you getting into a relationship with them, right? Or just being friends. Doesn't matter the relationship. The question is, what do they look like? Because you don't want them to look in a way that you don't feel comfortable around them, right? So that's the key game plan, to assess someone's looks because you don't want to be around someone that really shouldn't be near you. So the initial point of attraction is going to happen when you lay eyes on that person. So even on a dating app, you look at the pictures, you lay eyes on the person. Is there anything there? That's what you're looking for. You look at the eyes, you look at the ears, you look at the face, you look at the dress, you look at the body. All that is physical attraction. So that initial point is going to determine whether you are attracted, swipe right, or left when you're not attracted, left, right? So you have to understand that you determine based on your growing up, your culture, your genetics, your demographics, your social behavior, your exposures and lack of exposures, all that is going to build within you an attraction for other people that you can't even determine. We cannot determine because it just happens out of the blue and it's unconscious or subconscious. Okay. This is something that you just cannot control. Okay. So this is something that happens again at the initial point where you don't even know what's happening, right? You just bump into someone. Whoa, it's there. That physical attraction. That's the first thing. It's the initial. So it's before the connection. The physical attraction occurs, excuse me, before the connection. That connection happens after the physical attraction. I'll say it again. The physical attraction happens before the connection. The connection happens afterwards. So remember that. The initial thing that happens, no matter who you meet, is an attraction if it's going to work with you or not. And with the other person, of course, has to be part of the agreement, right? So that initial time you meet, that initial time you even talk, the initial time that you see the picture, there's a beginning question of, is there an attraction based on your own unconscious, uncontrolled uh, characteristics and who you generally are attracted to. Okay, you have an idea, but when it hits, it is something that hits home and you cannot control it. Okay, of course, you can walk away from it, but you cannot control that actual feeling that we talked about yesterday regarding what happens when those chemicals are produced. These are things that are produced on their own without your control involuntarily. Second point, no universal standard exists for physical attraction. So there's no rule. So just like there are different personalities, right? We have different personalities, we have the ranges, we're different. There's no other me, there's no other you. Same thing with there are no universal standards that exist for your definition of what you consider attractive. So physical attraction, again, yeah, we have facial attraction and facial symmetry and facial descriptions of being attractive. But those are different. Here, I'm putting together the whole idea of being physically attracted to somebody. You are the only person that exists. You are the only person that can decide whether you're physically attracted to somebody. And it could change based on subtle things that you have, again, no control of. So again, no one can stand here and say, you are the person that is attracted to this person because you're this and you're that. No one can do that, right? They can guess, but they can't hit a spot on only you can. So you will decide who is universally or who is attractive to you. And even universally, when you're trying to give ideas of who's attractive and not, you're going to give your own opinions because of your own upbringing, your own, again, environment and culture and social exposure to people that, again, might be different. Again, depending whether you've gone across the world or not, okay? Number 3, does not fade with time. Physical attraction does not fade with time. Now, what I mean, now you're going to say, ooh, what do you mean, Dr. Kathy? What I mean is that the physical attraction I'm talking about, it doesn't stop at just the looks, which is I'm going to talk about the looks in the next second, right? So yeah, looks can fade, right? Your appearance, you get older, you change, yeah. But the attraction is a little bit more than just looks. And like I said, I'm going to talk about that in a second. But I want you to understand that when someone's attractive, when you think about it, right? Think about it. It really doesn't go away. They're attractive for the rest of their life because that's who they are. There's more, right? That should clue you in. There's more than just the facial features or the body, right? There's more to it. So let's talk about that. All right, definition. Physical attraction, you're drawn to someone based on their aesthetic appeal, what they look like to you, okay? Physical appearance, physical traits, physical anomalies that go on in someone, and suddenly you just put it together, boom, 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 and you are attracted to that person. Unbeknownst to you, you have, again, no control. Attraction at first sight. So it's like love at first sight? No, I'm not talking about love at first sight. I'm talking about attraction. So yes, you can have attraction at first sight. And it's not love. Remember, that's the initial point. That's the start, right? It's like putting the key in the ignition. You're turning it on. You haven't put the car on yet. You can, or you can turn it right back off. This is the initial sighting of the person. And it may flicker and it may not flicker. Something may happen, something may not happen. So that physical attraction is crucial. It's important. So we all know we're going to take some time and make some effort in looking good whenever we can, right? But I'm trying to focus mostly on the fact that you do have to have some initial recognition of what they look like, some aesthetic. And if it appeals to you, you're going to say, ooh, God, this person looks good. There still may not be something that goes on, right? That attraction might not happen, just might walk right by. We walk right by people all the time. So when you're looking at people, yeah, nothing might happen or something might happen. Something might spark, right? Attraction at first sight may happen, may not, and you can develop attraction later on for someone. It doesn't have to be immediate, but sometimes, like connections, it can happen quickly. The key, though, is it is not just a look. It's the start. But when you go further into the new studies, and if you want the studies, let me know, I'll send them to you. You'll see that there's an additional angle they're talking about that they think is involved in physical attraction. And that is the psychological and socio-cultural influences. That's wild, right? But it makes sense because when you see somebody, yeah, we have celebrities, we have stars that we see and we can be attracted to them, but we're seeing them in movies and stuff. That's why we're more attracted. We're seeing some psychological, some socio-cultural influence going on. There's something going on in them that's making them so much more attractive than they are because we really don't know them. So when we talk about these celebrities or stars, we're really biased because we've seen them in movies or read about them. So the most important point here is even when you have not met somebody, meaning you have bumped into somebody and they say sorry, just that alone can give you an impression of some psychological or social cultural influences, saying even how they say it, right? With an accent. British accent makes a difference, right? Than just an American accent or an African accent. So again, subtle differences that play a role deep down within us, okay? So the new physical attraction is not just what you look like. It's also the psychological, your psyche, and your social, cultural, where you grew up, your exposures, your environment, making you who you are, uniquely you, which is why physical attraction is unique to you and there is no universal standard. Okay? No one can tell you who's physically attractive to you, bottom line. Okay? All right. So physical attractiveness, right? Why is it important? Because it denotes health. It shows whether you're healthy. It shows vitality, longevity, fertility for women, right? And for men too. And success. It just gives you this picture of, this person is gonna make it and be big one day, right? So that is the bias of when you have the actual attractiveness, beauty, right? When you're beautiful or handsome, you're gonna have that almost agreed. We'd like say, you know what, this person must have this going for them because they are attractive or beautiful. Not fair though, not fair. And that's what they call the halo effect. The halo or halo, I'm not sure whether it's halo or halo. The halo effect links physical beauty to positive benefits, e.g., for example, kindness, intelligence, competence, which influences socio-cultural perception. So it influences your perception, what you think about them, because that is something that's been going on for age old, how many centuries? We just assume when someone is beautiful and looks just great, that they have all these things going for them. And you know that it's wrong. But it's innate, it's within us. We just can't help it. It's some sort of evolutionary rule that we have, where we have to just assume beauty is actually success, or it's actually competence or kindness, or just happy people, right? You just have to assume that. But then when you get to know them, it's not the case. Because again, there is a psychological and again socio-cultural influences going on in the background that you have to play, you have to take into consideration. It plays a role. The halo or halo effect really is something that we have to be aware of and nip it in the bud, meaning, yeah, they're beautiful, but what else is going on, right? Or they're ugly, but what else is going on? So I don't want to just talk about beauty. There's ugliness involved here when it comes to physical attraction, and people can be ugly. I did a talk on Beauty and the Beast. And Beauty and the Beast, I did say, he's a beast, but he's beautiful more than his looks because there's more to him. Go back and if you want to listen to my talk on the Beast and Beauty, okay? So when you're talking about the halo effect, we know we've got to be careful. Don't assume that they're successful and competent and got everything going on, okay? Take a step back and understand it takes time to know. And that's where that connection might come in, and it might not. But you want to take time, understand the person you're dealing with, not just assume and think that this person is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways. You want to take your time, get to know them, and when you do, you put the whole picture together of them, not only physically, but psychologically and culturally and socially too. Okay. Now, over here, I want to talk about some physical characteristics. Okay. So the female, we know that facial symmetry is important, and for the men. So it's going to be in both categories. So I'm going to just list and say things for the women so that you understand what physical attraction is in terms of characteristics that people are looking at and what they are actually considering when they're saying, am I physically attractive to you, or are you physically attractive? So facial symmetry, clear skin, youthfulness, youthful appearance, looking young, hair quality. Now we women know about the hair. Waist to hip ratio, we know about that evolutionary wise, being productive, being able to have kids. We want to have a good waist to hip ratio. Larger breasts, again, that's what attracts the male. Rounded hips, same thing attracts the male. All right, so these are evolutionary characteristics that we all have and makes us attractive or not attractive to different individuals. For the man, muscular build, we said facial symmetry also, muscular build, nice muscles, height, we like height, grooming, and cleanliness. That's important for guys. We don't want you looking rough or homeless. We want you looking great, healthy, because that also talks about success. That talks about whether you're going to take care of the partner, right? Your children, your family. Also, facial hair, chest hair, body hair, strength. Hair talks about strength. Hair just denotes, just shows, oh my gosh, like Samson and Delilah, a lot of hair is strength, right? Deeper voice, men that have deeper voices, they give you the sense of confidence and having their again, their life in order. And then the Adam's apple. We know with the Adam's apple, a clear denotation of the male characteristic being a male. So we definitely want to have that Adam's apple, okay? And some people say the bigger it is, does it make a difference? I'm sure it does. I don't know there's studies on that, but I'm sure it does. All right, psychological attractiveness. So we talked about physical attractiveness. Those are the things that we're looking for. Let's talk about psychological attractiveness, because psychological attractiveness goes with physical attractiveness. If you have physical attractiveness, I told you, it is not that by itself. You have to tag along with it psychological attractiveness and, like I said, the social, cultural influences too. But the psychological attractiveness, it's going to be part of my favorite topic, personality. Your unique personality is going to play a role in whether you are physically attractive or not, which is why I'm asking you right now, do you know whether you're physically attractive? You're going to know based not only on your looks, but on your psychological characteristic, which is your personality trait number one, okay? Basically, go back and listen to that talk. I did that a few weeks ago. I want you to know that the psychological attractiveness can determine longevity. So that's the piece, right? That's the being able to get along, being able to be compatible. You want to be compatible with someone, so you've got to be able to have some psychological balance, right? So it's going to determine longevity, the length of your relationship, the depth of your relationship, how deep your relationship goes, and it's going to just tell you whether you're even able to make a connection, right? So that depth, longevity, that length of time you spend in a relationship. If you're not psychologically mature, again, go back to my different talk on personality. If you're not mature psychologically, you will not be able to have a long-standing relationship with someone. And I'm going to say with anyone, even platonic relationships. You've got to be careful. You have to realize you've got to be, what did I say before? Agreeable. You've got to be able to amend, see other people's point of view. You're going to have to be able to agree and compromise with people, especially when you realize you're not going to get anywhere. What's the point? So just call it what you want to call it, and just say, you know what, I'm going to have to agree to disagree, move on, or just say, hey, I'm going to do one thing or the other to make up for that not agreeing. Okay, so again, the way you do that is going to make the relationship last longer. Okay. So psychological attractiveness in women would be kindness, compassion. Okay, so when you see a kind woman, you're going to fall in love. Oh my gosh. Again, that tells you she can stand or stay in a relationship for a long time when she's kind. When you're not kind, how are you going to stay in a relationship, right? You've got to have kindness, compassion, understanding people, empathy, right? Feeling other people's pain, other people's emotions, independence. You've got to have some independence, be able to make your own decisions without falling to the floor or not being able to make a decision, being indecisive. You want to be able to make decisions and be independent, not completely independent, but when it's time to be, you should be able to be independent, because that shows that you can support your man or your woman when things are rough. And it shows that you're in there for the long haul, right? You've got to be dependable. Emotional maturity. I've said that before. You've got to be mature. No throwing things all over the place or ranting and raving and screaming and shouting and throwing things. No, you don't want to do that. You want to be kind, compassionate, empathic, independent, and emotionally mature. That's a very, very important one. That, I think, is the number one, being emotionally mature. For the guys, confidence. We need you to be confident. Ambitious. We want you to be ambitious. Definitely want to see that you have a place you're going, things you're doing, plans for the future to attract your opposite sex, right? Decisiveness. You've got to be decisive in what you do. You can't be right? We can, you can't, right? Emotional stability also, emotional IQ, intelligence. You've got to be smart because you're leading us, right? You've got to show that you can lead. Financial security, that's a given. You already know that. Reliability, you've got to be reliable. Is your word, or do you just, say things and they don't have meaning? Or do you do things and they don't have meaning? Or you say you're going to do it and you don't do it. So you've got to be reliable, guys, okay? Dependability, again, just like us, we've got to be dependable. We have to be able to say we're going to do something and do it. And if we can't, we communicate that we can't. Again, that's the compatibility. That's the agreeableness, being able to get together and accept that sometimes you're going to have some disagreements and then you work your way through it, and that will make the relationship so much healthier. So why did I talk about physical attractiveness? It's because possibly after that physical attraction is there and noted and agreed upon between the two parties, it might turn into a dynamic interaction. It might not, but it might. So that's the excitement when we're trying to have relationships. Will it work out? Will it not? Am I going to go further? Am I not? So remember, that physical attractive, again, is the initial point of attraction. So that's where everything starts or ends. But remember, if it continues, there's a possibility of going deeper into a dynamic, ever-changing relationship because there's so much to learn about each other, right? But you've got to do it in an agreeable way. If you want to get that contract, want to get that in writing, go ahead and do that, right? And do that way ahead before the issues come to fruition, before the issues actually start. You don't want to have it start. If you can't, just resolve it, like I said, amicably. But if you can see it coming, I think that's genius, right? Seeing it come and being able to avoid it. So that dynamic interaction can lead to a profound, meaningful connection. So we come right back full circle to that connection we talked about yesterday. Your connection, your sexual connection, your emotional connection, your, connection just to be a friend, whatever it is. If you're able to have a profound, meaningful connection with someone, even if it's just a best friend, it is significant. And it improves not only you as a person, but it improves the world, right? We're able to influence other people by being great examples and being positive and being able to connect in a healthy way, not only with our partner, but with our colleagues, our friends, and again, the globe, the international world, if you do get out there and travel. My point today is understand being physically attractive is important. It's a start. It's not the all, it's not the end all. It's not the whole story. You have to be able to know it's deeper than that. Who are you? Do the quiz, the personality quiz. I've talked about that before. Understand who you are. Make yourself the better you, because you can do that, because then you're going to attract your partner, right? You are what you think. You are who you are, and you're going to attract who you are. So you want to attract someone great, physically, emotionally, and get that great connection and a great relationship, you've got to improve who you are, okay? Not just your physical who you are, but the emotional and the psychological and the socio-cultural. Expose yourself to experiences that will make you a better person to your future partner. Okay, guys? All right. I'll talk to you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Take care. Ciao. Bye.